Okay, today on Pro Mindset, I have a special young man, Dalton Risner.
Thank you so much, Craig. I sure appreciate you having me on, man. You guys should tune in because it's going to be good today. Got a lot of great stuff to talk about.
No, it's going to be great today, Dalton. And here's why. Because you're a man of God. You're a husband. You're a founder of the Risner Up Foundation. And right now, your purpose is you're an NFL player. And you just celebrated your 1-year anniversary with your lovely bride. And you're one of the few NFL players from the state of Colorado. You know, there's Jack Stoll from Cherry Creek. There's obviously McCaffrey from Valor. There's JoJo from Pine Creek. There's, you name a few.
Yeah, Philip Lindsay, Mike Purcell, myself. There's a few, there's a handful, I guess I would say, of kids from Colorado that are making their names well known in the NFL. And I'm very proud to be a part of that. Not only Colorado, but the small town community of Wiggins and the flatlands, not the beautiful part of Colorado. I'm proud to represent that, and I always will have that near and dear to my heart.
Well, you might represent the guy from Colorado that comes from the smallest school that's playing in the league, right?
Yes.
Okay, so as we mentioned, you played at Kansas State. You're a multi-year starter. You started every game you could start, I believe, except for one. So you started 50 games out of 51 games at Kansas State. I don't know if your nickname was the Iron Man, but it probably should have been the Iron Man, kind of like Joe Thomas over there at the Cleveland Browns. And then you were drafted by the Denver Broncos, your home state team, in 2019.
Yep. Yes, sir.
You became an immediate starter, played for one of my former clients, Chris Cooper. And you've only played in 62 games in 4 years, but you started all 62, and you've only missed 4.
Yes, sir. Hey, you got the stats down, man. I sure appreciate that.
Okay, so I just got to start out by saying is, what is your identity that allows you to step into a program? And I know at K-State you redshirted, but the first time you were eligible to play, you were on the field. You were the man. And you did the same thing for the Denver Broncos. What is it that you bring to the table that coaches trust you and put you in the lineup from the jump?
Yeah, there's a lot that's led to that. I take a lot of pride in that. You know, you see me walking around on the streets, and I might not be the biggest guy. I mean, I'm 6'5", 300 pounds, but I'm not a phenom. I don't have 30-inch biceps. I'm not some guy that looks like he just walked out of the gym swole as heck, man. And one thing I've always had is this right in here. I come from a school of 800 people. I come from a family that got Christmas presents dropped off on our doorstep. I come from a family where I watched my dad work 3 or 4 jobs to get us through. I come from a family where I watched my father tell me, if you want something, you're going to have to work for it. And your route's not going to be as easy as other people. Coming from Wiggins, we didn't have any colleges coming through Wiggins to check out talent like those bigger schools. I had to go out there and be well known. I went to 15, 20 camps a summer. So I think ever since I can remember, Craig, I've had to grind. It's been the grimy road. There's this song by Sawyer Brown called The Dirt Road, and I can't think of a song that describes my life more. And that's the way I was for my father as well, and he taught me the same thing. He said, your way's not going to be paved. No one from this school has ever played Division I football, Dalton. No one from your family has ever played Division I football, let alone the NFL. It's going to be hard, and that's why everyone doesn't do it. Because if it were easy, everyone would be in the league. If it were easy, everyone would play Division I football. So I think ever since I was young, I had this desire and this passion to be great and do what everyone around me said was impossible. Not everybody. I had a lot of people that supported me, but what most people said was impossible. And going through Wiggins and my dad benching me my freshman year. My dad was the head coach. A lot of people say when you have your dad as the head coach, it's going to be easy. Not for me. I didn't play at a 1A school with 20 people on our football team. I didn't even play my freshman year. I only played my sophomore and junior year. I got hurt my senior year. I played 2 years of high school football. Like, that's the crazy thing a lot of people don't know about me. Dad benched me freshman year, got injured senior year, had to go to 20 camps a summer and earn those scholarships. I mean, I had to go and earn them. I sent emails. I made calls every Saturday. My dad, I want to go hang with friends. Nope, Dalton, you're not doing it, because I can't take all the credit. I can't say that I was just this 16, 17-year-old high schooler saying, yep, I'm staying home on a Saturday to call coaches, or I'm staying home this whole summer to go at camp. No, I got to give credit back to my parents, because when I told my parents that I wanted to do the impossible at the time, go play Division I football, they said, we will support you in every way possible, but it's not going to be easy. You're going to be made uncomfortable. So my summers were spent going to camps. My Saturdays during the school year were spent calling coaches, cold calling, looking up the staff directories, calling these coaches, calling secretaries and telling them I had a meeting scheduled with the head coach or the O-line coach, getting a hold of those coaches and then being like, you've left me 10 voicemails. Who are you, Dalton Risner? Like, man, like I really had to grind. So I've always had that in me. Once I got to Kansas State, redshirt year, I wanted to quit. I wasn't the biggest. I wasn't the fastest. I wasn't the strongest, Craig. It wasn't Wiggins, Colorado anymore. This was big boy, Big 12 going against Texas, Oklahoma football. And I had to grind. And you know what? My redshirt freshman year, I started. And I just feel like the same thing that happened through my college career has happened in the NFL. When I got to the NFL, I had coaches that said, you got to be ready to go in there right away. And for me, that pro mindset we talk about, that was instilled ever since I can remember. I was ready. There wasn't any time to say, well, I need time to learn the playbook. No, I was already on it. There wasn't time to get ready to go play those guys and be physically and mentally ready. I was already ready for that. I had been on the dirt road. I've been on the dirt road. I think I'm going to continue to be on it. I know I could probably elaborate on that more, but I feel like that's what's contributed to me being able to show up to places, be ready to go, and not only be ready to go, Craig, but stay out there. You mentioned something that I don't think is talked about enough, and that's where I feel like I bring to the table is consistency. In college, I missed one football game in 4 years. In the NFL, longer seasons, right? Almost 2 times as long as the college season, and I've only missed 4 games in 4 years. And that's the thing that I take a lot of pride in. I hope coaches do as well.
Dalton, holy smokes, dude. My brain's going 100 miles an hour because I've got like 12 questions I want to ask just from that. Okay, brother, let's talk about the journey of a football family. And you're from a football family. You got 4 brothers. You got a whole basketball team, but you guys played football. And your dad's the high school football coach. What was it like at dinner? Did you guys talk about anything but football?
I give so much credit back to my parents, Craig. Like, they were amazing. My dad was the disciplinarian in the realm of work ethic and giving it your all. My mom was a disciplinarian in making sure we got good grades and we treated people correctly and that we were at church on Sunday. So they just meshed so well together. I always remember at family dinners growing up, we always were at dinner, of course, and we always had to drink a glass of milk. Those were our 2 rules. And you always asked to be excused from the table and you clean your dishes after. Mom would cook up a huge feast. I mean, for these 5 boys, my mom and my dad, who's another big dude, like, it was big meals, man. Like, my mom used cauldrons of food. Like, it was hilarious. And the coolest part, I always give credit back to my father, is my dad was a football coach on the field. But I forgot to mention, my dad started the Pee Wee football program in Wiggins. He was our baseball coach as well. He was our wrestling coach. He never was our basketball coach, but he was our coach in everything. Some might say, well, was my dad's job. That wasn't my dad's job, and I'm not going to get emotional on here, but there wasn't a damn thing my dad wouldn't do for us boys. I sit where I'm at today, and I can confidently say my father gave me every opportunity to be where I'm at. Dalton Risner did not do this by himself. And guess what? Mama cooking those chocolate chip pancakes and those cauldrons of spaghetti, she gave me every opportunity too. And she taught me that grades come first. And she taught me that the Lord comes first above everything. They just melded so well together. I give so much credit back to them. And I love them so much because they did a great job. What I was getting at is my father was a coach. Then he got home and he was a father. We didn't get home to the table and talk about practice. We didn't talk about when he yelled at me and grabbed my face mask back there in 2002 when you could do this and throw me to the ground and yell at me. Because that's how my dad did it. I love it. It's 2023 now. That's not allowed. But I can promise you that happened to me and my friends. And we didn't talk about that. And it made me mad as a kid. I'm like, you're trying to sit here and be my father and tell me you love me, but an hour ago I had my face mask grabbed by you and you embarrassed me in front of all my friends. But that's one trait that I learned from my father is you have to learn how to divide it. If he was a coach all the time, he wouldn't be one of my best friends right now. I wouldn't have just gotten off the phone with him for 45 minutes venting to each other about our life. We wouldn't be friends, but we are because he did such a great job of dividing that. Yeah, not very much football conversation going on at the table. I don't think Mom would have allowed it anyways, Craig.
We go back a little bit. Our families go back a little bit. I can remember your father calling me one time, and Wiggins was playing in a 7-on-7 tournament, and they needed a place to practice, and they were passing through Springs, and we found him a field to play at. And your older brother Taylor interned with me at one point in time, so we've got a little history, and I've been following you, and I remember when I went on an unofficial visit to Kansas State. We're in the stadium, and it's a game day. It's like early in September, your redshirt freshman year. And your mom and dad was there, and Case and your brother and some other people. And your dad was like, I don't think Dalton likes it here. And I'm like, bro, he just needs to stick it out. He just needs to stick it out. So here's the thing that happens. I see an unbelievable growth in people when they deal with adversity. Getting redshirted is adversity. And I'm just guessing, but I'm going to ask for you to confirm or deny it. You grew the most at Kansas State when you were a freshman, when you weren't on the field, and you had to figure out, how am I going to get on the field, and how am I going to earn the trust of my coaches, and how am I going to learn to compete? Because at Wiggins there wasn't a lot of competition. You didn't have a bunch of guys looking like you that you had to go against every day. You show up in Manhattan, you got guys from Houston and which different places across the country, and these dudes are dudes.
You're exactly right.
Share with the audience the growth that you experienced as a redshirt freshman in college.
I experienced so much growth that year, and you couldn't have said it better. When you're challenged with adversity, when you're faced with tribulation, that's when your character is revealed. Everyone thinks, this is a quote I live by, and I mean I live by this. The measure of a man, I don't measure you, Craig, when things are going good for you. I could care less how you act. I do not care. Sappy, happy, sad, motivational, not. I don't care how you are when things are going well for you. But when you're faced with challenges and you're beaten down and you're down bad, that's when I want to see what character Craig Doman has. And that's what I want to try to be as a man. I feel like that's when our character's revealed. That's when our character's tested. So that year at Kansas State, my character was tested. And I wasn't perfect all the time. But through that challenge and tribulation of not feeling like I was good enough, calling my father and saying, I'm coming home, I'm done, I'll admit that. I wanted to quit. My father literally telling me, you don't have a home. What home are you planning on going to? I said, well, I was going to go to yours, but I guess I don't, so I'm going to stick it out here. We need more people like that, man. Because you know what? If he would have said yes, where the heck would Dalton be now? Where the heck would I be now? But you know what? I'm not. I'm in the NFL. He didn't let me quit. And he taught me about that. What you told him at the game that day, that's exactly what he told me is he's got to stick it out. You got to stick it out, Dalton. And that's where I grew. That's where I figured out, who am I going to be? On the worst days, when I don't feel good enough, how am I going to show up to that weight room at 6 a.m.? When I know I'm not playing this year, how am I going to show up to that cardio at 5:30 in the morning and it's cold as heck outside in November in Manhattan, Kansas? And how am I going to grow this year so that I can be great the next 4? How can I be a great teammate even though I'm used to being a leader? Some of the greatest leaders in this world, they know how to follow. So how can I lower myself and how can I follow? How can I learn from these guys ahead of me? How can I respect what they've done? And man, I could go on for hours about things I learned, but those are a few of the things that I did learn that year. And the Lord, which I haven't got to yet, which is the most important thing in my life, way more important than any father, mother, wife, anything that I could have, is the one that knew I needed that time. God always works things for good. It might not be in our time. Might not be in our way, but the Lord knew I needed that year. He said, Dalton, you need to grow. There's a story from the Bible, and it's about a man named Jacob, and Jacob was just killing it. But the Lord knew that Jacob had to go through some major crap, some trial and tribulation, because he knew Jacob could be great. But in the Bible, it literally says that Jesus said, I knew Jacob needed to go through this because he needed to learn. And that's exactly what you said, Craig. That's why it fired me up, sent chills down my back, is because as humans, we need to go through hard times, adversity, trial, tribulation. We hate it because a lot of the times it's uncertain and it's scary and it's frustrating because we're not in control, because we think we're in control when we're not. But when we go through that, man, God knows what he's doing, and he knew what he was doing my freshman year at K-State.
We're going to get back to God in a little bit. I want to go to, as a collegiate athlete, and that's been a minute now for you, what would you share to high school kids that aspire to be scholarship athletes in the sport of football? And how different is it than they think it is? Because there's always a misconception. They think it's going to be the girl card, the party card, hey, this is going to be cool. What is college football really about? How would you mentor a young man, let's say he's a high school kid there in Denver where you're at, that is getting ready to go to college and play college football?
The first question I'd ask him is, where is your purpose? Where is your purpose? Male, female, whoever it is, whatever sport they're going to play, what is your purpose? Why are you doing this? Who are you doing it for? So many people, so many kids show up to college, show up in the NFL, Craig. I'm still saying kids because there's kids in the NFL and the NBA all over the world, Division I universities, Division II, whatever it may be. They have no idea who they are. They have no idea why they're doing what they're doing. They have no idea why they want to do it or where they're going. And I would say, find your purpose. Who are you? Why do you want to do this? Where do you want to go? Have a purpose for what you're doing. It could be for mom and dad. It could be for you. It could be for the Lord. It could be, I don't care who it is for. But why are you doing it? Who are you doing it for? And where are you trying to go? That's so crucial, because when you're faced with a challenge and you're smacked right in the face, I've been smacked in the face the last 6 months. I'll say that. It's tested me. Who am I? Who am I doing this for? Where's Dalton trying to go, and why am I trying to go there? I've asked myself those questions. And I think those are questions that kids should know.
Hold on. I want to know the answers. Who are you? What is your purpose? What is your purpose? And where are you going? And who are the people that you want to impact?
I love that. That's a great question. So that is what I would tell someone trying to go to college, Craig. And to wrap it up, the last thing I would tell them is, when you're showing up to a university, don't pick somewhere based off the what the university looks like, what the girls are like, what the parties are like, what your uniforms look like. With this new college deal and the transfer portal and everything, like, go somewhere because you feel at home. One of the greatest things a college coach told me, a coach that knew I wasn't going to his school, Craig, he said, Dalton, I want you to go somewhere where you can visualize waking up every day and being happy even if I'm not here. Because he was so real, and he knew he was a straight shooter. I might not be here in 2 years. That head coach you like might not be here. That girl you like might not be here. Whatever it may be, it might be gone. So you need to pick somewhere where you feel like no matter what changes, you'll wake up here every day and you'll be happy. And that was one of the greatest pieces of advice I got, and that's why I chose to go to Kansas State. K-State wasn't flashy. It's not known for its parties. It's not known for its girls. It's not known for much of anything other than a good football tradition and working hard with Bill Snyder. And it wasn't the most appealing place, but that's where I went, thank the Lord, because that was everything for me and where I became who Dalton was. So that finishes up your question, but 100%, I'll get right to it. Who is Dalton Risner? For the first part of my life, all throughout high school, and mind you, I've been caring about the community for a while. I've known Jesus for a long time, but for the first half of my life, all the way up until, I hate to admit it, but up until probably about a year ago, I was Dalton Risner, the football player. Even if I didn't want to admit it, that's who I was. Because everywhere I went, Dalton, can we get an autograph? Dalton, can we get a picture? You're the All-American from Kansas State. Or, hey, you're the starting left guard for the Denver Broncos. I thought at times I wasn't identifying with Dalton Risner, the football player, but God had to beat me down to my knees. God had to humble me. God had to test me to be able to show me, Dalton, I'm not where your identity lies. Dalton, you're telling people that your identity is in me, but it is not. Because guess what, Dalton? I'm going to take it away. I'm going to take it away. I'm going to take away aspects of your family. I'm going to take away this football that you necessarily tell people you don't care about, you don't identify with it, and let me see who you are. Is it enough to just be my son? And that happened a year ago, going into my fourth season with the Broncos, when I was benched in OTAs by the new staff. And I came to terms with the fact that, man, I'm Dalton Risner. I'm the son of God. I am a son of God. I am brother and sister in Christ to everyone down here on earth. That's who Dalton Risner is. And guess what? That's enough. I don't want to be anything else. I don't need to be anything else because that's everything. That's everything that I could ever be, man. That's the sole reason Dalton Risner's down here. I'm not down here to play football. I'm not. Anyone that thinks I am, get it out of your head because I'm not. It's not my main goal. I'm not Dalton Risner down here to Dalton Risner make an impact with Dalton Risner's foundation. No, 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 no. It's not me. I don't want to be a part of it because it's not me. It's God. God wins, man. God reveals all. And I just feel like if I've learned anything, I don't want to get too deep into it. But the fact of who is Dalton Risner, I'm a son of God. And I'm so thankful that I am. And that's all that I want to be is a son of God. Now, what's my purpose? Man, I want to advance the kingdom. I want to be a vessel. And don't get it twisted. Where my purpose is, don't get me wrong. I want to be able to do my thing on the football field. That might not be who Dalton Risner is deep down, but that's something I have a passion for and I have a purpose for. I promise you, it's not so I can say, look at me, I'm holding a Super Bowl trophy, or I was all pro, or I was Pro Bowl. Man, of course, selfishly, if I'm being honest, I want to succeed in the game of football. I want to be able to make a pathway for kids that come from 1A, 2A, 8-man, 6-man schools out in Colorado or across the whole U.S. I want to give them hope. I want to leave a legacy. But more importantly than all of it, I want to leave a legacy for the Lord. I want to be able to show kids that you can have the fame. You can have the fortune. You can have people asking for your autograph. You can be on TV in front of millions of people, and you can still give it back to Jesus. I'm 6'5", 300 pounds. Craig, you know as well as I do, I got to work hard to stay in shape. I got to work hard to stay strong and practice my craft. But I'm blessed with being 6'5", 300 pounds, man. I was given that from the good Lord. You don't work hard to be tall. I don't care what anyone says, you don't. And I just feel like with me telling you where my identity is and looking at what I look like, the Lord has plans for me. And I know that the Lord wants me to use this platform with football that He gave me to advance His kingdom. And yes, He wants me to be able to go for it and go succeed and earn that starting job and play in the league for 10 years. I want that too. But more importantly, above it all, I want to advance the kingdom. I want to be a great husband. I want to be a great father. I want to leave a legacy on what it's like to treat my wife, how I treat my kids, how I treat the people around me. I haven't even gotten to my foundation yet, but I want to impact people's lives. I want to do a lot less of me and a lot more of Jesus in my life. And you asked that question, and I promise I could go on for an hour down each avenue, down my foundation avenue, down what it looks like to be a father and be a wife. Be a husband, not a wife. I'm a husband. And what it looks like to pursue this NFL dream. All those things matter. But I look at it as a dinner plate. The plate is God. And yes, I might have a big chunk on there that's being a husband, or a big chunk on there that's going to be being a father, or being a son, or being a friend, or impacting the world, or football. But the whole plate, that's God, man. It keeps it all together.
Well, one of the things that comes to my heart right now and listening to you, and I can feel this, is that God's put you in this season so that you could have more of His power. You could have a greater purpose, and you can use your platform bigger. Because what happens to a lot of guys, and you know this being in the league, you just kind of get in the culture of the lifestyle of being an NFL guy. Some guys have platforms with foundations and they really make a difference, whether it's Thanksgiving or Christmas or different things. But it's like they're still in that bubble, that NFL bubble. And I feel like through this free agency process, just listening to you, God's popped the bubble. You've got a sneak peek at what life's going to be after football. And he's basically getting you ready for the fact that it's not your time to be out of football. It's your time to be more impactful in football. And then when it's time to move on, you're going to be more powerful too.
And I love that. And Craig, I haven't, it's been a hard year, not only from some football areas that we could talk about, but with family. I almost lost my mom on 2 different occasions. It's been a hard year for A lot of reasons. God has, as I like to say, God's my silversmith. He's your silversmith. And silversmiths know when they're ready when they're working on a piece of coal or silver. They know when they're ready when they pull it up, they look at it, and they see their own image in it. God made us in his own image. He wants to see us. He wants to look at Craig Dolman and say, I see myself. I see Dalton Risner, and I see myself. Even though I don't think that's possible for me to attain as a human, because I know it's not possible, I'm not perfect, I'm going to strive for it. And what silversmiths do to get to that end result is they just put that silver and that coal in the fire. They put it in the fire. But you know what? They don't hold it in there too long. They don't hold it in there too long, because if they do, it's going to melt. It's going to break. They pull it out just in time. They wipe away the soot. They look at it and they say, it's not ready. I might pull it out for the fire for a little bit, but I'm going to put it back in at some point. And I view my life that way. There's been times I've been out of the fire, and I felt good. But this last year, this last 16, 18 months of my life, I've been in the fire. And you know what keeps me going? Is I know the Lord's not going to keep me in it too long. And I hate to get emotional. I'm trying not to, but I know he's not going to leave it in there too. He's not going to leave me in there too long. All he's trying to do is see more of his own image reflected in me. So for you to say that, it means a lot to me, because that's what I'm trying to do. For a while, I was always facing God, but I was facing God and talking about why, almost lost my mom. I lost my starting job, had to earn it back after starting for 3 years. I could go on about a lot of other things that happened, and I asked about a lot of why. Maybe he's trying to build my testimony, but what I've been doing lately is I've been facing God. I've been saying, thank you. I've had 4 months to hang out with my wife. We had the hardest first year of marriage, not because of her and I, because of life, because of my job, because of family. It was hard. And I wanted time with my wife. I can't remember how many times I prayed to the Lord during the season. When I'd get home and I'd be so beat from being up at 6 a.m., I'd go to bed at 8 p.m. I wouldn't even get time to catch up with my wife. And I'd say, I just want time with her. Well, what do I have? The last 4 months, I've had nothing but time with her. Every day I get to wake up to her and go to bed with her. I'm facing God. I'm saying, thank you. I've got time with my mother. I've got time to do things with my brothers. He just always has a bigger plan and a higher purpose. And it might not be our plan. It might not be our time, but that's what I've been doing lately. So thank you for saying that.
Well, one of the things that happens with gold, you want to talk about being in the fire, is the longer you keep gold in the fire, it gets more pure. And so 24 karat gold is a lot more pure than 12 karat gold. And so the longer you're in the fire, the hotter it is. You're going through this purification process right now in your life that's setting you up for your purpose moving forward. So what happens to so many NFL players is this. They get in the league. Their dream since they were little boys was to get to the league, get paid for playing a game, have the lifestyle and the fun and all the perks that come with being an NFL guy. You did that. A lot of guys do that. Not a lot of guys. Very few guys do it. But the guys that are in there, everybody's doing it. You're getting a chance to take a break. Basically, God's purifying you. And he's challenging you. And he's redirecting you on a bigger, greater purpose moving forward. And you got I don't know. Obviously, I don't know. But the Holy Spirit's telling me, you got the message. You got the message.
And you're exactly right. And teams don't realize that. Teams don't realize that. I mean, I'm going to go on something here, and no one has to agree with me, but teams don't look at stuff like that. I don't think the NFL teams look hard enough into consistency. Guys are going to be on the field and play. I'm not an all-pro guy yet. I'm able to say that. I'm going to be there. And you want to deny me? How many college coaches told me to quit coming to their camp? How many coaches told me I'd never make it from 1A Wiggins, Colorado? How many NFL coaches didn't give me a chance early in my career at Kansas State University? Tell me no, please, because that drives me. Tell me no. I love that. I bring more to the table than a lot of teams ever recognize. I'm not going to get into the details, but the Denver Broncos knew what I brought to the table. Maybe not as of late, but they knew what I brought to the table. The leadership in the locker room, the leadership not only on the football field and holding guys accountable and knowing my playbook in and out, any position on the offensive line, knowing other positions. I care about the team. I'm going to put the team above myself. I don't care if I ever get a single accolade for myself. I want my team to be successful. That's the leadership I'll bring, the consistency. I'm going to be on the field, Craig. You better break a bone in my body, or you better tear a tendon off of my bone to keep me off that football field. I'm not going to say names. There's a lot of guys in the NFL that get paid a lot of money that they don't play games for bumps and bruises, and you know it as well as I do. You're going to have to do a lot to keep me off that field because of what's in here. Bench me. Bench me. The last coaching staff did it going into my 4th year. Bench me. Tell me I can't do it. 4 weeks. We can go back through the whole timeline and talk about it. It took 4 weeks. Those same coaches that benched me are the same coaches that counted on me throughout that whole 4th year to be the leader of the offensive line and to be the guy that they counted on every Sunday to be out there on the field. So what I'm getting at is I don't feel like NFL teams they know what you're telling me, and I wish they did, because I feel like I bring a lot to the table, and that's not myself boosting myself up. I can be a lot better. I will be better. But that fire I have inside of me to play the game of football, that young kid that's inside of me that's always going to be in me, I'm going to give it all on that football field. You will not outwork me. You will be stronger. There will be faster. There will be more talented. But you can't go 4 quarters at the speed I'm going to go. And you're not going to put in the work. And you're not going to play as injured as I'll play. To be on the field on a team that wasn't going to make the playoffs, Craig. And I'm going to stop there so I don't say too much. But man, I guess what I'm getting at is I will go to desperate lengths to play this game and to be a team player and to be a leader in the locker room. And I just wish more teams knew that.
Okay, Dalton. So I'm going to give the audience a little bit of a background because we've kind of we assume they know. Some know, some won't know. So I'm going to share, and then anything I want you to add on. So Dalton just finished your 4th season in the NFL. And after 4 seasons in the NFL, unless you're a first rounder, you're going to be an unrestricted free agent. And that's when guys get an opportunity to get paid, kind of cash in. In the agent business, that's what everybody looks forward to. It's getting the second contract. It's where you can sometimes 10 times your pay. Okay? And the NFL.com comes out with top 100 guys for 2023 free agency. And Dalton Risner is number 41. And guys in that situation sometimes get a new deal within 3 or 4 days after free agency starts. They're that first weekend, big money deal. That didn't happen. So we're in day what? It started roughly around March 15th, so May 15th, June, we're at day 65. And right now you don't have a team. We're not going to talk about who's interested, who's not interested, what they're offering. But what I do want you to talk about is the journey of the last 65 days and what you've learned. You kind of shared with us already what you've learned about yourself, but share with the audience what you thought the process was going to be about and what the process really is.
Yeah, well, after the year that I had with my mom, with my family, with football, it was, and a lot of that's, I wish I could share a lot of that, Craig, but it's not my information to share, so I don't feel like I should, just because it's not stuff that involved me and myself in my life, but it definitely affected me, and it was hard, and it was a hard year. It started with about 18 months ago, the start of OTAs going in my 4th year, and a new staff, and I love all those guys. Don't get me wrong. Anyone listening, I love that whole staff. I'd love to be told no. I was benched the very first day of OTAs. I'm not Dalton Risner. You're not going to fit the scheme. Okay, sounds good. All right, give it 4 or 5 weeks, fellas, and we'll see who fits the scheme. And that was a hard time. And you would talk about being put in the fire, talk about God rewiring you and humbling you. And I learned so much in that time. We talk about learning through adversity. I learned. And I go through that 4th year and a lot of hard stuff with the family, incredibly hard stuff that I'm trying to balance while I'm trying to play this game that I've looked and worked towards my whole life. So the pressures that went on during that 4th year amongst a bad season, I just felt like I was just loaded down every area, and I had to go out there and perform every Sunday. And leading into free agency was an exciting time. Me and my wife, we wanted something new. We were open to anything, but we wanted something new, and we were excited for that. And we felt like a breakthrough was coming. We felt like the Lord had put us in the fire for 12 months, and it was time for that breakthrough. We're going to get pulled out. And that's not what happened. We stayed in the fire, and then God turned up the heat. And I can't thank him enough for that. Because if I would have left in those first 3 or 4 days, Craig, I wouldn't have been around in April to be there for my mom in a time that if me and my wife weren't there for my mom, I'm not so sure where she'd be at today. And that's all I'll say on it. But God has done so much in such a bigger way than I can ever imagine, even though the heat's been turned on and it's been hard. But the truth is, I'm not signed. I'm not on a team. I could be on a team, though. That's what a lot of people don't realize. I could be on, I'm not even going to give the number, but I could be on a lot of different teams right now. And I'm not on a team because I know my worth. In this 10-minute stint before that, I mentioned to you what I bring to the table. And I mentioned to you that I feel like NFL teams don't know that. And I refuse to let that go unnoticed because I know what I bring to the table. And I believe in God a lot more than I do any guy wearing a suit or any guy that tells me who they think I am. I believe in God a lot more than that. And I know that whatever club I end up on, what they're going to get out of Dalton Risner is going to be 5 to 10 times more than they ever even thought. And I can't wait for that moment. But process hasn't been what I've wanted. It hasn't been in the time that I've wanted. But I'm also thankful for that. And I'm so proud to say that. And the reason I'm able to say that is because of Jesus and because of God and because of my hope and my love in them. So I'm proud to be where I'm at today, but I'm still keeping the faith. And I know God's got a plan for me wherever that route goes.
Okay, so I misspoke. It's been like 95 days.
It's been
April, May. It's a 100-day journey for you right now.
Yep.
And it literally starts like 2 weeks before free agency because you can have these off-record conversations with teams. You can even do negotiations the last few days before free agency even starts. So it's been a long journey.
David and Goliath was 40 days. While David faced down Goliath, everyone around him laughed at him. Everyone around him said he had no chance. Everyone around him said, it doesn't look good for you, David. You're going to die. This isn't going to end up well. Your dreams aren't going to come true. You're not going to accomplish the task that you want. You know what David said? He said, man, I got God on my side. All things are possible. I feel like David. You know how many articles I get sent to me about Dalton Risner isn't signed yet? He's screwed. He should just take a deal. Dalton Risner, something happened. Maybe it was because he pushed his quarterback during the season. Maybe it was because Dalton Risner didn't perform well. Dalton, you're screwed, man. You're against the odds. There's no chance for you. You better just take what you can get. Well, I'm not any David. I don't look at myself that highly, but I can promise you I want to strive to have the faith like David. And I got God on my side. I got the King of all on my side, and I know he's got a plan for me. So I'm going to keep the faith. I'm going to hold my ground just like David did. And God's going to win the battle. Dalton isn't going to win anything. I'm not going to win one thing. It's not about me. But God's going to win the battle for me no matter what it is.
So let's talk about your position, being an offensive lineman. Obviously, you've played center, you've played left tackle, you've played right tackle, you've played guard. In college, you were all over the place. In the pros, you've been primarily guard. Offensive linemen are supposed to be guys that just show up, bring their lunch pail, don't ruffle any feathers, don't make any recommendations about play calls, don't say anything bad about your quarterback, your running back not running through the hole, or whatever it might be. And you were in that situation that was caught on TV with ripping your quarterback, and I thought it was I didn't know what was going on. Nobody really knows what was going on except you guys. But it's like, I looked at it as like, hey, man, this guy wants to win. This guy's got some heart. This guy's willing to speak his mind. But some of the press took it like, oh, my God, we got this guy that's like stepped out of line because he's supposed to just, put duct tape on his mouth, keep his mouth quiet, and just go block somebody. So Share with the audience what you want to share about that situation.
Yeah, there's a lot of avenues that we could take. All I can tell you is it doesn't matter what the outside noise says. You know that better than me, Craig. Who cares what other people have to say? We know who we are. We know why we do things, and some things are inexcusable. And me pushing a teammate should never be done, even if it's out of passion, even if it's because you're mad and you want to win a football game. Don't push your teammates, right? But man, for pushing a guy, one of my best friends on the team, and for me and him hugging it out 30 to 40 seconds after, for the press that it got and how bad they tried to make me out to be, I think it was because I was up for Walter Payton Man of the Year, and my whole time at Kansas State and in the NFL, there'd never been anything on me in that respect. I think that they just grew on it, and it was on Christmas Day. So the first thing we have to do is humble ourselves. We have to be able to look at ourselves in the mirror and say, we're not perfect. And I had to do that, and I say, I'm not perfect. I shouldn't have pushed my guy, man. But you know what I also could talk about is it was out of passion. We're getting our ass beat on Christmas Day. No one wanted to turn the cameras to some other people that didn't even care we were getting our ass beat. They wanted to point it towards me, which is fine. I'll take the fall every time because guess what? That's what an O-lineman's about. You talk about showing up with your lunch pail. Check mark. I do it. You talk about showing up and not ratting other people out. I do that. I'll take the fall for my teammates any day of the week. I'm going to support my QB, my running back, my team, my head coach, my O-line coach, my GM, my offensive coordinator, my owner. I'm going to do that. I'm going to show up and I'm going to do that every single week. I believe I exemplify what an offensive lineman is in a lot of areas, man. But one area that I'm not going to let people tell me who I am is, Dalton, show up and shut up and do your job. I'm going to show up and do my job, but I'm going to show up and try to be a great teammate. And if we're getting our ass beat, I'm going to be pissed off about it. And if we're not performing the way we should be, I'm going to be angry. And if I need to show up and support my offensive line, I'm going to do that. So in the moment when there was words exchanged and I didn't quite understand what was going on and I was frustrated and I just got off a 14-play drive, yeah, I pushed my team and I shouldn't have. But of course, the press doesn't cover the hug after. Of course, when Brett Rippon calls me that same night and says, man, do you want me to put something out on social media to let everybody know me and you are cool? I said, Brett, don't do that. I could give a crap less what people say on social media. I don't even have social media. Let people say what they want to say. There's a reason they're on social media. There's a reason they're speaking their mind on social media and I'm not. So, Brett, if me and you are good and you forgive me and I forgive you and we move forward and we make this team better these last few weeks, that's all that matters to me. I don't need you to put anything out on Twitter to make everyone feel better about Dalton Risner. Think what you want about me. The people that know me, the people that love me, they know who Dalton is. They know that I care about them. They know I'm a good guy, but they also know I'm not perfect. They know that there's areas in my life that I got to get better on. They know I shouldn't have pushed my guy, but I could talk about it for a while, but that's kind of my viewpoint on it. Is I talked to, I will say, an undisclosed person on the Broncos, but a very important person on the Broncos the next day after that. And even though I felt like there was a lot of reasoning as to why I did that, and the passion and me caring about the team and me showing that passion that I felt was important at the time, I still, as a man looking at myself in the mirror, wanted to apologize to that very important person on the Broncos. And I went up to the person and I said, I just wanted to tell you I'm sorry. And I get cut off right there. And that person looks at me and says, you don't got to apologize. I know exactly why you did it and I appreciate you. And of course you didn't do it in all the right ways, but we need more people like you, Dalton. And the only reason I don't share it is because I don't want it to get out. I don't want people to say, oh, Dalton Risner did this and he got applauded by this. I don't care about that. I don't want it to be talked about. But at least it made me feel better that there were people that understood me and they knew who Dalton was. They knew why I did it, just maybe didn't do it in all the right ways.
Okay, Dalton. I'm going to challenge you maybe in a way you've never been challenged before. Okay? I don't know if you're going to play 8 more years, 4 more years. God only knows. You're getting inducted into the Ring of Honor, wherever you're at. This next team. Maybe you win a couple rings. What's gonna be your message to the world when you are getting honored in that kind of situation? Maybe 10 years from now.
That's a great question, man. The speech, the area of focus that I would focus on are multiple areas. The first area that I would focus on is a lot less of me and a lot more of Jesus. That'd be my first order of business. How I got to where I was at, the testimony that was formed, the miracles that happened in my life, the blessings, the help that I got to get to Kansas State, the help I got to get to the NFL. A lot less of me and a lot more of other people and Jesus is my first area of focus. My second area of focus is to use that platform to talk about what the world needs more of. You guys see my ink all over my bodies? It's Bible scripture. And yes, I'm not perfect, but the world needs more kindness. The world needs more love. The world has become this place where we're all so selfish, and we talk about what we need and what we want and where we're going, and we are in this one-track mind of where we're going individually. Well, we forget the main mission down there and down here, and that's to help people. That's to love other people. That's to bring other people to Jesus Christ. That's to show other people the Jesus in us. There are so many Christians and followers of Jesus that believe. I know they believe, but in terms of how they treat people, it just doesn't show it. And I'm not perfect all the time. I don't treat people the best all the time. No one does all the time. But we need more people willing to help others in this world, man. This isn't about Dalton. It's so much bigger than me. So many people in this world think that we're so dang important that it's about us. It's not about us. We're not in control. When are we going to understand that? When are we going to understand that there's another family like mine that's getting Christmas presents dropped on their doorstep right now? I didn't create a foundation to show up and take a picture and donate them money and look good in the press. When I show up to a foundation event or an event to help someone, I stay beyond my hours. I tell kids at every event, I will stay as long as it needs to be to sign every autograph in hopes that if I just make one kid believe in themselves or one kid believe that there can be good in this world, I've accomplished my mission. I would speak on how our world needs more of that. Our world needs more people that are willing to put themselves aside and say, how can I help other people? How can I love other people? I think that's what God wants for us. That's what God puts on my heart. When I speak on these podcasts, when I talk to people, I don't prep. I do not prep one bit. I let Jesus speak through me, and that's what I feel, man. So I would get up there and I would try to take myself away from it. I would try to honor Jesus. I would try to honor those that helped me to get to where I was, which are thousands of people that helped me get to where I'm at today. And I would try to speak on what I think this world needs more of. I would try to utilize that platform to do so. And I would try to show the world that some award is going to collect dust. I got every award possible at Kansas State University, academically, community service-wise, and football-wise. I was All-American for 3 years at Kansas State. I was up for AFCA Good Works Team, Man of the Year. I mean, you name it, it's all upstairs. And what is it doing? It's collecting dust. That stuff's forgotten. Okay, maybe you look at a guy that's Tom Brady or LeBron James and they got all these rings. That's important. But I bet if you were talking to one of those guys, I guess I would hope if you spoke to them, they would be able to tell you, man, this isn't what truly matters. It's respectable. It's something that I take pride in. I take pride in wearing 6 Super Bowl rings or having multiple NBA championships or MVPs, whatever it is. I know that they take pride in that, and I would too because it's important. But at the same time, it's not what matters. It's going to go in your house. It's going to collect dust. And what truly matters at the end of the day, what kind of father are you? What kind of husband are you? What kind of friend are you? What type of legacy are you going to leave on this world? Yes, you can leave a legacy through football. I can make a pathway for other kids that come from small schools. I can give them hope. But I want to do it the right way. I don't want to do it the right way by collecting hardware and saying, look at me. I'll stop there.
I love it. I love it. You need to go into coaching when you're done. Get the whole team to run through the brick wall. Okay.
Yes, sir.
This is my final question. And this just came on my heart, so I'm just going to ask it. Sometimes in life, you get an opportunity to make a difference. And a lot of times it's with other people. But sometimes you get a chance to make a difference with your own family. What message do you want to send to your mom, to your dad, and to your 4 brothers to get in a positive path, get on a positive path right now? What's the thing you've been thinking about telling them that you haven't been able to tell them that you want them to hear?
Well, that's so great, Craig. You're speaking my language. First of all, for those of you listening, Craig does this not just for people in his family. Craig and I have been talking for multiple months now, and Craig has prayed over me. Craig has called me. Craig has checked up on me. I haven't seen Craig in a long time, and he cares for me. I believe that love comes from Jesus. And one thing I try to do in my life is I try to do the same thing. There was a Dish Network guy at my house 3 years ago. And this is when my wife didn't really know me. She was my girlfriend. And when the Dish Network guy left the house, I told him I loved him. And he was very thrown off and was very confused. And when he left the house, my wife asked me, "Did you just tell him that you loved him?" And I said, "I did, because I do." And I love each and every one of you guys listening to this podcast, whether you support me or you don't support me, or you know me or you don't. I love you so much. And one thing my wife always tells me is she loves how I tell people exactly what I feel. And I have this thing in my notes every 2 weeks that's called checkups. And it could be someone I haven't talked to in 4 years, or I haven't talked to in one day. And on that day, I call and I text and I send videos to people that I feel may need it or may not need it, but I'm going to send them a video and I'm going to tell them how I feel about them. I'm going to tell them how much I love them. Tell my brother Taylor every time I see him that no matter what podcast I'm on, what coach I'm talking to, interview, speech, whatever it is, I tell them all the time, "Taylor, you're the greatest athlete in our family." It wasn't Dalton. It wasn't me. I'm pretty dang good at football. Taylor, you could do anything. Taylor, you could play any sport and you were the best at it. You were a competitor. You had that drive. You were the best athlete in our family, man. And Taylor, you paved the way for me. You went to University of Northern Colorado, and I looked up to you in so many ways, man. And you did it, and you paved the way, and you let little Dalton know back in 2013, 2012 that he could do it too. I tell my little brother Kason that his young spirit and his kindness and that smile he carries on his face, it empowers me, and it makes me want to be more smiley and show my emotion more, because, man, I love that kid. He's so supportive. Sheldon, my youngest brother, I tell him all the time, "Sheldon, the drive you have in your heart, the stuff that you had to go through in high school that no high schooler should have had to go through, the way that the man that you've turned out to be, and the drive that you've had to be the youngest brother by a long shot and be able to be where you're at and work how hard that you're working and be making a name for yourself, even when you had a lot of big names to live up to with your brothers, man, it's admirable." I tell my oldest brother Austin, going to the military, doing what he did for our country for 10 years and not getting a lot back for it from it. That's one of the most selfless things I've seen somebody do. And I tell him how much I respect him. And I tell him every time I meet somebody, I try to mention about my older brother Austin and what he gave to our country and the tours that he took and the places that he went to and the accomplishments that he did in the military. Because you know what? We live in a world where we idolize football players more than we do military service members that give their life for this country, for us to play football. And all I do is play with a little leather ball and hit other grown men for fun. I tell them that. I tell my mom, "I don't know where I'd be without you, Mom. I don't want you to not be here. Mom, you showed me, you're the first person that told me who Jesus was. You're the first person. Mom, you taught me what it's like to treat people the right way. I'm so thankful I'm not in the position I'm in, and people look at me and say, man, hell of a football player, Super Bowls, all pros, Pro Bowl, a lot of money, a lot of fame, but man, he's a jerk. He don't take time for anybody. He just shows up, gets a picture, and leaves. He's mean to everybody he meets." No. I would hope that people say the opposite about me. And Mom, you taught me that. Dad, you helped me get to where I'm at. The work ethic you instilled in me, the times you told me no, the times you made me hate you, the times you made me uncomfortable, you're a huge reason as to why I'm where I'm at today. I tell them that. There's a game I play, Craig, when I'm with my family or friends, and everyone laughs at me. And not in a bad way, but they just laugh because it's who Dalton is. But I always look around the room where I'm sitting at, and I say, for example, if my family's here, I say, "Casey, what's your favorite thing about your youngest brother, Sheldon?" And they answer it. And we always leave those meetings, and I can see, I look around, they might not be as outgoing as me. They might not understand why I played that game. And I don't talk to them about this. But I can see how good they feel. I see the look on my mom's face when she's about to hear what her daughter-in-law's favorite thing is about her. It almost brings me to tears. Because too many of us as families, we don't tell each other what we think. There's too much pride. There's too much ego. Man, I leave myself out of it, Craig. I never even ask them what their favorite thing is about me. I don't, because I don't even want that. I don't even need to hear that. I want to see them tell each other. I did it with my wife's family. I had multiple of them in tears this off season. I had her brother and her sister-in-law, her brother's wife, look at us and tell us, we haven't had a conversation like this in so long. It feels so good. I saw their family open up. I talked to my wife after, and she was like, man, I've never even seen my family talk like that. We forget what this world's about. It's about family. It's about love. I hate to break it to you, to any of you guys listening. No one cares what bonus you got or what you've done. They care about who you are inside. They care about the husband, the father, the wife, the sister, the brother, the friend, the teammate. They care about that. That's what matters, man. When I look back at people I've met, I love Craig Doman, right? I don't care what he's accomplished in the agent world. I don't care what he's accomplished successfully in his business. You know what I care about is the heart that he has. I care that he cares about me. I love that about him. I love that about you, bro. I can feel the Jesus inside of you. That's what I care about, man. And this is me right now letting you know that. Letting you know that I look up to it. I hope that when I'm your age, I have my head on straight still. Because if you're half the father or half the husband that you are to me, and half the father and husband that you are with your words that you say to me and the things that you share, then you've done it, bro. And that's what I think is more important. I know I went off on a tangent, but man, that stuff fires me up.
Woo! Dalton, Big D! Holy smokes. Oh my God, we could go for all day. You're unbelievable.
Yeah.
You got me teared up. Holy cow.
Yes, sir.
Hey, I just want to thank you for joining our show today. This is really not about a podcast. This is about a message. This is about reaching people, touching people, and telling the truth. And about being honest with people. And I don't know if I've ever had a guest that's been as honest as you have.
Well, thank you so much, man. It means the world to me. Like I mentioned earlier, one thing I love to do is be able to get on here and just be raw me. Sometimes when we're in the spotlight and we have the microphone and we're under the microscope, we feel like we have to be perfect. And in social media in 2023, what it's created is it's created a world where we feel like we have to be. And I am very proud to get up here and say I'm very far from perfect. I love admitting my mistakes. You talk to Kobe Bryant, LeBron James, all these amazing athletes in this world that I'm nowhere near towards in terms of succeeding in their sport. And they'll tell you that they learned from their failures. And without failure, there is no succeeding. Without failure, there is no accomplishments. I love talking about my failures where I've come short. And I have a long way to go. And I'm sure there's a lot of failures to come, a lot of areas of my life to fall short in. But I can promise one thing is I'm going to learn from them. I'm going to keep the faith in those moments. And for my life, while I'm able to have the microscope and the platform, I don't know how long that'll be. But one thing I'll always utilize is be able to show the world that it's okay to be imperfect. It's okay to just be who you are. It's okay to admit that you're not perfect and that you do fall short. The important thing is who you're going to be from it. What kind of character you're going to have in those times. And it means a lot to me. So thank you so much. I love being on here. For everyone listening, I'm sure you guys are sick and tired of listening to me. I'm sure it's been over an hour, but man, I had a heck of a time. So hope you guys enjoyed it as well.
Well, the final thing, Dalton, is if somebody wants to contribute to your foundation, where can they find it?
Yeah, you guys can go to risnerup.org. What I encourage you to do first is just go check and see what it's all about. I have a great marketing team that runs my foundation's website and my foundation's social medias. So Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Risner Up Foundation. You guys can go check out what we've been up to. Some things are big, some things are small, but what we try to do well is let people know where their money's going towards. I'm heading on a 6-hour road trip right after this podcast to go up to Camp Hope in Great Bend, Kansas. And it's a camp for kids that are battling cancer. I'd say 60% of the kids don't come back every year. And you want to talk about being a champion? You want to talk about real problems? Anything I mentioned on this podcast, it's not a problem. I'm sitting here in a home. I weigh 300 pounds. I weighed in at 300 this morning, so I'm well fed. I could show you guys my stomach, but I won't. I'm blessed. I have a wife, and I have health. I'm able to walk. I can see. I can hear. I'm able to play my dream sport, my dream job for my dream team for 4 years in the NFL. I'm doing just fine. My problems are nothing. That's why I love going on these trips. That's why I'm heading out there to spend the whole day with them tomorrow, is because those are real problems. And that's organizations like Camp Hope. Camp Hope is why my foundation is a foundation, is to help kids like that, help families like that. Kids that don't know if they're going to be alive in a week. Kids that don't know if they're going to be at Camp Hope a year from now. Man, that's why I encourage you to check out. If you want to donate, man, that would be awesome, and I'd appreciate it. And I hope you know that if you do, it's going to go to the right organization. So thank you so much.
I want to thank you for tuning into Pro Mindset Podcast. If you enjoyed the listen, please leave a 5-star rating. If the message was a vibration you connected with, and you have any friends, family, or colleagues who would benefit, then please share this episode with them. You can follow Pro Mindset Podcast on the following social media platforms: Instagram and YouTube, Pro Mindset Podcast; Twitter and Facebook, Pro Mindset Pod; LinkedIn, Pro Mindset. We will drop our shows, Pro Mindset Podcasts, every Wednesday morning, and we invite you to listen and subscribe. Also, don't hesitate to check out our archives to listen to previous shows. And finally, I encourage you to embrace a Pro Mindset truth from today's show. It just might be the key to unlock the pro inside you.